The live stream has started. And this is the Daily Freakout for Tuesday, the 23rd of September. I feel like I say this so much, if not too much, but I feel like I'm in a grumpy mood where the motivation to actually do this is just not there. It is just not there, and that's very frustrating. And the brain says, oh, well, why don't you just not do it? That kind of thing. And I had a really nice day yesterday. We went geocaching. It's going to come up in a future episode. I recorded it and everything. We went down to some rich people's houses and or the beaches near some rich people's houses, and it was very nice. It was a fantastic day, and the camera has fallen. I love that. I love that for me. And I'm not sure. Hopefully that will have made it better. And we had a lovely day, and then I got into bed and I thought, you know what? I'm one of these people that doesn't have a couch in front of a TV because I watch pretty much everything on an iPad. And on an iPad. And I enjoy taking that iPad wherever I am doing whatever I'm doing. So if I'm cooking, it comes to the kitchen with me and I watch whilst I cook. If I'm sitting here doing some editing and stuff, it'll sit here and what have you. If I'm playing guitar, etc. If I lay down in bed, it's there when I lay down in bed, and I don't sit on a couch and watch TV like quote unquote normal people do. And so yesterday I got into bed in the afternoon and I thought, you know what? This is my Saturday. I've done some work by going out and filming and recording. I'm going to sit or lay down in bed and take it easy. And I ended up watching at least 4 or 5 episodes of Gen V, the high school kids version of The Boys with superheroes. And it got to a time where I was just like, you know what? What's the point in getting up? Let's just stay in bed. So I have had a ridiculous amount of sleep. Like, I am well slept, as it were. Yet I've woken up today and felt nothing too particularly exciting in terms of motivation and excitement or any of that kind of stuff. And so I get a punch in the face. I just thought I'd randomly hit a sound effect. There we go. That's the kind of mood. That's the mood I'm in. Just a complete buzzer of negativity. And I'm just not feeling that excited about... I was going to say I'm not feeling excited about life, but that makes it sound a little bit depressing, doesn't it? But I'm not depressed. I'm just not motivated to do anything. After I finish this, I'll probably go take the dogs for a walk, and that'll probably cheer me up a little bit. But it's a bit rainy outside. I was really looking forward to the sun coming out, because even though I don't, or at least in the last couple of years, I've only just started to realise or notice my own seasonal depression. I'm prone to depression regardless. And I've noticed it be a little bit worse during the winter months in the last little while. But more so than that, I've noticed how much I enjoy those first few days of sunshine. Those first few times when you get to stand in some outside and get some sun on your face and you go, oh, that's nice. Or even that one time when you get in the backyard and take your top off and have a nice little sunbathe, and not long enough to burn or anything, just a little bit of warmth from the sun. It really is such a nice feeling, and I was really looking forward to that. I was really hoping that we were hitting spring in a really good way, But the last couple of days have been pretty miserable, and it's not been good. So I've got to find some confidence and some motivation and try and get things happening and moving, because life doesn't stop, does it? A podcast that I no longer listen to always talked about how you've got your birth and you've got your death, and then you've got a dash in between, and that you should try to, what are you going to do with that dash? That's what you can do something with. The world may be an absolutely terrible place, full of religious fanatics and power-hungry megalomaniacs and oligarchs taking over the world and all that kind of stuff. But we get to sort of dictate our own little bit in between. But that's a little bit of philosophy for how I'm feeling this morning. I hope you're feeling good whenever you are listening to this. Thank you to the one person who listens and watches these. If you are by any chance, if you've stumbled on this, I think I'm streaming to YouTube somehow. YouTube says you're not allowed to stream live unless you've got 50 followers, and I'm still in that 27 realm. I am still very unpopular according to the numbers, which is somewhat depressing because I put up a lot of content. I am putting up a lot of videos at the moment. I've really gotten into the swing of uploading to YouTube. And yet, because I'm for whatever reason, there's probably, as I said from the get-go, an overabundance of middle-aged white men talking to camera, which is what I'm doing. But hopefully, in the future, we'll get a few more followers and a few more viewers. But apparently, I have circumnavigated and am able to get onto streaming on YouTube, which I personally think is pretty amazing and quite funny, and a little bit of what's the word? Not meta, but a little bit of a delay. If you look at the camera, there's me streaming apparently on YouTube right now. Yeah, how's that? Great for the audio listeners. I do apologise talking and doing visual things for you. Speaking of visual things, let's get on to our first little news article type thing that I want to talk about. I can't remember if it was on the full version of the show or on headlines. I think it was on headlines. I talked about how fridges are now going to have ads on them. And already Samsung faces backlash for testing ads on Family Hub refrigerator screens. There is a certain... I don't have a problem as such with all kinds of... Almost everything in our life is monetized, is a business. Obviously, this type of podcast kind of thing and radio shows are effectively businesses because you have equipment involved, you have broadcasting rights, and just the fact that you have to, it costs something to broadcast. Sport involves money because you want the players to have the best conditions, and if you are able to pay players to focus on their sport, then you get better sport. So if you then sell the advertising on the boundary fence or a sponsorship on the jersey jumper of the player, and that money can then go to the players and can go to the training facilities and all that kind of stuff, you get better sport. So in a way, the money and the advertising creates better sport. That said, though, I much prefer watching old footage of sport where there was no advertising, and it was for the love of the game and that kind of thing. And I remember reading an article, would have been over a decade ago now, that said, if you really like or want to watch sport for the love of the game, go watch the amateurs. Go watch the people who are working their 9-to-5 job and sacrificing their relationship with their partner to get on the field and go play. Sure, the play and the technique and the skill might not be as great as the professionals, but the passion and the drive and the satisfaction from a victory is going to be more. And that's a roundabout way to talk about how advertising is now so much of a focus for almost everything that even TVs have got advertising on them, and Samsung is like, hey, how can we make more money? I know, let's put advertising on our TVs in people's kitchen. And it's like, what the hell are we doing here? Where does this end? Does it become the point where your entire house is automated, and unless you pay your fees, you can't do it, and then you say, well, I'll take the advertising option? There's that episode of Black Mirror where the young guy is in effectively a single room, like a bedroom, but every single wall is a screen, and every single wall has advertising. But because he got a bunch of money when he was younger, he's able to swipe across on these things. And then at some point he loses all that money and stuff, and he can't swipe across anymore, and he just has to sit there through the ads. Is that what we're going to become? It's a similar thing. A co-worker got a new car and was talking about how the car has the lane assist and the braking assist and all that kind of stuff with the sensors and the beeping if you don't put your seatbelt on and all that kind of stuff. And from a certain degree, I go, oh yeah, no, that kind of makes sense. It's good to have a safe car and all that kind of stuff. But give me a car that you almost get to the point of like, I want to manually start the car, and I want to change gears, and I want to be able to fix it myself and all that kind of stuff. I don't know how to fix a car, but I want to be able to fix it myself. And I don't want a massive screen in my car giving me advertising the whole time. I don't want the car to all of a sudden veer left and right when I'm driving because it senses that I'm not in the lane. I want to be able to focus and do that myself, because I worry that the future is going to be a future where we just allow cars to do that. Why are we going to I don't want a fridge that has a screen on it, full stop. I've got my screen, I've got my iPad. As I just said before, I take my iPad everywhere. Sometimes I go to I have a bath and the iPad sits at the end of the bath whilst I watch something. Haven't done that in a while though. Should do that. That sounds very nice. But I don't, and if I want a recipe, I'll put the recipe on my iPad and I'll have the iPad in the kitchen. I don't need it on my fridge. And so I definitely am agreeing with the people who are backlashing against Samsung for the ads on their Family Hub refrigerator screen. I don't like it at all. But that's just me, and I don't know. How do you feel? I would love to know how other people feel about this, because I'm always wondering how other people feel. Like, I feel one way, or I do one thing. Like, for instance, I'm not a hugely neat and tidy guy. I don't mind having a bit of fluff everywhere and a bit of boxes here and stuff like that, and a bit of chaos. But other people, it has to be away. It has to be in the cupboard. It has to be all clean and neat and tidy. So do you want some more screens? Because the advertising on a positive side, advertising makes you aware of products that you may not have been aware of. So maybe a new thing has come up and the TV or the fridge goes, hey, have you noticed this? You like buying chocolate ice cream. Here's a new chocolate vanilla ice cream. And you go, oh, that's interesting. I'll try that. Because that's sort of valid. That's how we learn about new things sometimes. So maybe it's not the end of the world. Maybe it is an okay thing. But me personally, yeah, no thanks. Anyway, let's go to a song. If you've never heard of the band Pomplamoose, then I don't know what you're doing. And that's a bit loud. How do I turn that down? Not that one. I can turn that down, but that turns things. I'm still learning all this stuff. But anyway, if you haven't heard of a band called Pomplamoose, you should. They're a fantastic band on the internet that does a lot of covers and stuff like that. This is a cover of a Daft Punk song, and I think you should like it. I'll be back in just a second. Oh.
there's something about us I want to say, 'cause there's something between us anyway. I might not be the right one, it might not be the right time, but there's something about us I've got to do, some kind of secret I will share with you. I need you more than anything in my life. I want you more than anything in my life. I miss you more than anyone in my life. I love you more than anyone in my life. Mais je sais que je devrais pas, mais qu'est-ce que tu veux? J'y peux rien. C'est pas le bon moment, mais bon, il faut que je te dise, parce que j'en peux plus.
That is Pomplamoose with the song that I can't remember off the top of my head. Dun, dun, dun. Something About Us, which is a Daft Punk cover. And this is a YouTube clip from 6 years ago. And I really wish I could tune that down. I can't work that out right now, but that's alright. They do fantastic covers of all different songs and all different things, and if you like that, you should definitely check them out, because a lot of their stuff is awfully similar to that. And I find it very interesting. The bass player appears to be wearing earmuffs as opposed to headphones, which is something I've been looking into doing for some recording projects. So I quite like that, and it ends very suddenly. So yeah, check them out. Pomplamoose. That is Pomplamoose. Pomplamoose Music on YouTube, and they're on all sorts of devices and streaming services and all that kind of stuff. They're still on Spotify, which is unfortunate, or at least they were when they recorded this. That was 6 years ago. And if I'm remembering correctly, the gentleman in the duo, they're mainly a duo, a husband and wife duo, and if I remember correctly, the gentleman in the duo is also the main guy behind Patreon, which is pretty interesting. It makes me like Patreon even more to know that the guy behind it is also a musician and a content creator and all that kind of stuff, because that kind of stuff's really interesting and relevant to someone like myself who's trying to do that kind of thing. So if you like Pomplamoose, or you liked that, you'll definitely like the rest of their stuff. That was very much a track that's indicative of the rest of their stuff. So yeah, Pomplamoose music. Hopefully that doesn't get me into trouble, because it was already on YouTube and they're independent and no one's watching this just to hear Pomplamoose. And hopefully if someone watches this and they like that, they'll go to Pomplamoose. That's what I'm hoping anyway. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about Ozempic Killer. New drug reprograms metabolism for lasting weight loss. The problem I have, and I'm going to start off, it's a problem. I don't like this kind of stuff. So let me just grab the... So from the article, these drugs work in part by slowing the emptying of stomach contents and increasing a sense of fullness. The problem, however, is that when you stop taking the drug, the feeling of fullness fades and weight gain can return. Even though there's been issues with Ozempic, people busting through Ozempic and or no, sorry, the other way around, that they can't put on weight afterwards and stuff like that. These kind of things are a temporary solution. That's a temporary solution. I know that, like, back in the day there was, oh, pardon me again. Back in the day there was lap band surgery where you'd actually get an elastic band put around your stomach so that you couldn't eat as much. And it's like, yeah, but there's a more of an issue there than just that you're eating too much, or that you've got that your stomach isn't emptying quick enough or too quick or what have you. And there's the psychological issue of why are you eating what you're eating. I know for me personally, I've got way too much extra fat on my stomach at the moment. I'm very disappointed about it. It's very frustrating. But I know that the other night I was feeling a bit down, so I went to the supermarket. The ice cream was on special, and I bought tubs of Ben and Jerry's, and I ate them in one hit. And I found that eating 2 of them satisfies me, and so I buy 2 tubs of Ben and Jerry's, and I can see a couple of them right here that I haven't put away. And when I say away, I mean in the bin. And how 458 milliliters, whatever that is. So they've got to be like a litre of ice cream or something. And so, yeah, I fill my stomach up, and that's my dinner. And that's bad. That is bad. There is no... That's how bad it is. And I realise that I need to get on top of that. I need to realise that I'm doing that as a comfort eating style of thing. I'm doing that to try and give myself a dopamine hit, because the cookie dough and the caramel and the chocolate all taste really nice and stuff, and it makes me go, oh, yum. And I know that that's a bad thing. I need to work on it, as opposed to I just need to take a drug for it. And it's rich coming from me, because I have a history of taking drugs in order to improve things. I've only recently, in the last few months, become as sober as I have ever been. And the short way out is good sometimes. If you're seriously obese and problematic, where like just walking to the car is a problem and you don't fit in the car and all that kind of stuff, then yeah, something like a drug to burn off the fat and stuff may be, in a time of somewhat desperation, the right way to go. That's for sure. But there's a reason why you got to that size. Now, sometimes it's a genuine thyroid issue or something like that. There's a genuine issue there, diabetes related or what have you. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I don't even play one on TV. But there's obviously those situations. But someone like myself, it's not, I wouldn't call it laziness, but it's over time. You keep having the bad habits that keep compounding on top of each other and on top of each other, and eventually you get to the point where doing your shoelaces up, your stomach's pushing against your lungs and you can't breathe properly. And that's a serious issue, because that's something I'm dealing with at the moment. I'm sitting on the couch bending over to do my shoes, and I have to take a long breath in order to do it, because I can't breathe whilst I'm squished over like that. And that's a problem. Or just the usual t-shirts and jackets and stuff don't fit and all that kind of thing. And so I need to stop eating ice cream for dinner, eat meat and veg. Maybe, even though I did it today, I had, for breakfast, I had 2 English muffins and 4 eggs with some avo and some Vegemite and some cheese. Maybe I need to cut that down to half that and see what happens. And it's that age-old thing where, as they say, you should eat until you're half full, and then stop, and then wait a bit and see if you're actually full, as opposed to eating until you can't eat anymore, and then a little bit after that you actually realize you're really full, because of the way that digestion takes a bit of time. It's an unfortunate situation that we live in, where we live in abundance. We live in a time where we have so much food that we actually need a drug to help us. But new drugs are coming in to help with lasting weight loss, and that worries me, because it's like, because it really is just escaping the fact that you should, or you can, or maybe you should, but you can eat normal food and normal amounts of food and exercise a normal amount and do normal human things. We're living in a world where it's too easy to not be a normal human. But then, of course, you have the debate of, well, what's a normal human? Maybe in the future, normal humans will just sit in a chair and drink Soylent Green all day. Who knows? I don't have answers. I am literally someone who constantly is saying, I don't know. So, who knows? What are your thoughts? Let me know. Comment, subscribe, like, all that kind of stuff. DMs are open on all the social medias, so send me a message and tell me what you reckon. Do we need to have weight loss drugs, or do we need to eat better food and exercise more? It's a very interesting world that we live in terms of certain places in the world ignoring science and coming up with crazy ideas for science. But I'm sitting here just getting a bit too fat and just need to go take the dogs for a walk, which is what I'm going to do now. Thank you so much for listening all the way to the end here. This is the Daily Freakout. If you've listened all the way to the end, you are in an incredibly small portion of the world, and you are getting exclusive content for free, because no one else is getting this content because they choose not to, because they're not cool like you. You're cool. So thank you very much. Check out iTunes or Apple Podcasts, as it's called now. I'm probably going to try and start putting these things up on some other services as well. Get the word out there. Let me know what we should have on the show. I want it to be a community type thing eventually. So I want people to contribute ideas and stuff of what they'd like to see. If you've got a news article or something you'd like a comment on, or you've got a comment about a news article, let's get some debate going. A certain person recently was claimed to be a free speech debater, even though he wasn't. Maybe we can have those kind of discussions, and we can help change and evolve our minds to live a better life and to be nicer to everyone. Who knows? Thank you very much for tuning in. This has been the Daily Freakout. You are fantastic, and I will see you in the future.